like this. Some of you, this might also help you figure out, maybe this isn't for me, but it's still a good idea to know what's out there and to know, be aware of like what other opportunities exist, because AI is going to impact our future. It already is. So without further ado, I'm gonna pass things over to Haotian, who is here from Penn. So he'll be leading us through the workshop this afternoon. And if you have questions, here's the nice thing. We have a small group today. Jump in, ask questions. All right, take advantage of this. Cool.
All right. Thank you, Emma, for the lovely introduction. So good afternoon, everybody. How's life going? How's life? Good. Tired? A little bit cool. Okay, cool. Okay. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about the AI. So here is our agenda today. First is exploring some basic ideas of the AI. Then we'll do 2 hands-on activities. Finally, we'll talk about the competition we hold for middle school, high school, and also elementary school students. So first is exploring ideas in AI. So here I want to ask somebody like, what do you think about AI? What's your thought on AI? Can anybody help me here? Yeah.
Well, trying to understand more around this without actually having to see it first.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it could also be
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyone else? Like what's AI in our daily life? What's a good part, bad part? What's your thought on that?
What do you use AI?
Yeah, that's also a good one.
What was that? Oh,
Homework.
Yeah,
how do you use AI in your homework? Like which app or website? Oh, let's go. That's a good one. Okay. So those are some hints here. So AI is all around us. We will explore 5 big ideas in AI. First is how AI perceives, how AI decides, how AI learns, how AI interacts with us, and how AI impacts society in different ways. So the first big idea is perception. So perception, put it in a simple way, is how we interpret and understand the world around us and how we feel the experience around us. So let me do a quick poll here. So there is a person who woke up like this morning at 6 a.m. How many of you think it's too early? Yes. How many of you think it's a normal time to get up? Okay, we got really lots of early bird. And how many of you think it's too late? Oh, that's okay. We'll note that. Oh, okay. So as you can see, the same time works differently for different people. And for me personally, I think it's normal for most of you. So it works same with the AI. So notice here, there is a smartphone, took a picture for 2 kids, and the smartphone, as you can see in the picture, it put the camera puts the squares around the faces. That's how it focuses. That's how AI perceive the world. So probably me, like I will focus on their shirts, how they wear red shirts, gray shirts, but the AI focus on the face. So that's how AI perceive. The next is representation and reasoning. So it's how AI make the decision. So for example, if you are using like a YouTube, Netflix, or like a Spotify, they will recommend you some like a music list or like a video list. And those are based on what you like. And based on the history you reviewed, you watch the video. So those are how AI makes the decision. The next part is machine learning, which is also how AI learns. So is there anybody have the driver license? Okay. Oh, a lot of so can any of you share like when you drive on the road, when you face things like this, a situation like this, you got different types of vehicle ahead of you, like truck, sedan, SUV. Will you drive differently? You're using different strategy to drive? Oh.
I help us, like, at least pass them all, so they're not directly next.
That's a good strategy. If you, yeah.
If you don't know where if you know where certain speed tracks are, it means you go faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are all really, really good strategies. And also AI has its own strategy. So probably when it perceives those like a truck, different types of cars, it will use different strategy based on different situations. So the next big idea is a human AI interaction, which is how AI interact with us. How many of you like use customer service on the website? Like there's more chat box and you're kind of ask for customer service. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So how's the
You think that they have a whole bunch of people sitting there waiting for you to type them? No, they're gonna have those chatbots, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. How's your experience of it? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell when they're bad. Every once in a while they have good ones where you're like, oh, okay, that's getting nice and easy. But otherwise you sit there and go, agent. Agent, that could never get you to right.
Yeah. Yeah. Justin, do you want to jump in to say anything? Or
Say hello, welcome.
hi.
I'll be back on Teachable machine.
Oh, okay. I know that part. Yeah. Sure. So those are how AI interacts with us and how like a human interact with us. And there is actually a big difference. You can feel that it's through like a chatbot or customer service we just mentioned. The last part is societal impact. Every AI technology will have positive and negative impacts. So this is actually the point I really want to make. It's not just for AI, works for every technology, even everything you done. Everything you done has a positive and negative impacts. Those kind of like life lessons you will probably get through the college or later life. Just noted that it will make you to be a better person. So that's kind of like we explored the 5 big ideas in AI, and probably we can do a more easy exercise. Anybody help me with this? Yeah.
Computers, receivables, etc.
Yes. So there are 2 important things here. One is computers, one is sensors. So before we talk about how AI perceive the world, so probably first we will look at how we perceive the world. As you can see here, we can tell it's sad, probably angry, disgusted, and shocked or surprised from the face. And you know that when you're like seeing it and perceive the emotions immediately somehow. So, but I do want to ask you, what features do you get when you see this feature, see this face and get the emotions. Helps you to get the emotion. Yeah.
The smile,
The smile, that's one. You want from here?
the eyes, like.
Eyes, yeah. Eyebrows, yes. Those are good features. So actually, as here shows, there are like 3 features we can use as a human, but it also can use that as a system, AI system, to train them to learn. You can detect those 3 features, then you will get it's a happy or sad or other emotions. So those are only from the seeing, but actually this is just one kind of senses. Can anybody share with us, like, are there any senses in human body other than seeing? Yeah.
Touch.
Touch. Anybody from, yeah, smelling? Anybody from, what's that? Yeah, taste. Did we cover all of this? Sight, hearing. Oh wait, did we cover the hearing? No, okay, I'll just say it. Yeah, I see. So as we can see, we have like different sensors to help us perceive the world, to have the different senses, like your nose for smelling, your ears for hearing, your tongue for tasting, your skin for touching, and also your eyes for seeing. So it also works for the for like a iPhone or for our computer, for vehicles. They also have their own sensors, like cameras, microphones, to help them perceive the world. So the next part is representation and reasoning. So I'll just save the time for this. Agents maintain models or representation of the world and use them for reasoning. So let's do a like activity here. So in order to classify an animal, like if we want to guess what the animal is, we can use a typical algorithm called decision tree. And in order to do that, let me go to the board. So now we have 4 animals: the chicken, the fish, the penguin, the cat. And what question can we ask to divide them into different groups? Color. So probably the answer to the question should just be simply yes and no. There we go. Yeah. Can you?
But is it black?
Is it black? So if the answer is yes, what do we got in this group? Okay. And if the answer is no, we got the chicken, fish. Anyone else help me to give another question to tell the difference between the cat and penguin?
Yeah. Is it something that can typically be found in the water?
Oh. Can be found in the water. If the answer is yes, what do we got?
Penguin.
Yeah. If the answer is no, what do we got? Right. So for the chicken and fish, give me a single question. Is it big? So if it's big, what the animal is? Chicken or fish? Yeah. So that's how we kind of have the decision tree, by asking simple question. So if we have a new animal, can anyone give me a new animal here? Yeah.
Zebra.
Zebra. So if we have a zebra, so we don't know it's zebra or not. Then we kind of ask, is it black?
Yes, it's both.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
It's a no. It's, well, the egg is black and white, that's not, I feel like we can.
But is a zebra originally white? Or is it black?
It's neither. One did not prevent the other.
Okay. Let's
It's partially black.
partially black. At least it's like a hot black, so. Yeah.
It's a piece
Oh,
of.
come.
I mean, or if you flipped it and said, is it blue? Is it zebra blue? But-
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah, that's a good way. So I'll put it like through this branch, so it's right here. So it should be this two cat or then, what's the next question? Is it living in the water? Is it living in the water? No. So what we get is cat. So we will consider this animal as cat by this simple one. But after we have a more training sets, a more classifier, so each of the questions is a classifier. If we can have more, we will reach a more precise answer. But somehow cat is, yeah, somehow cat is like more related to the zebra, like compared to the penguin and other. Maybe, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, gas is it.
It's because it's the only mammal up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you can see, like how naive this like decision tree is, but it's just show the spirit. And also it's just a one way to do the decision tree. There are also like different way to do that, and we'll get different result. Yeah, does it swim? It's kind of like does it, live in the water, or does it have skills? Does it fly? So you'll get another decision tree. Then the next is it's kind of showing why it's called decision tree, because it's like you ask the first question from the root and you ask like more questions, then you finally can get a precise answers on the leads. So if AI do like with a new animal, it will go through the decision tree and reach one of the label, one of the answer on the leaf. So the next is machine learning, which is how AI learns, like we just mentioned. So computers can learn from data or information. So I do want to ask, like, what is data for you? How do you find the data in our daily life? Can anybody give me some examples? Yeah.
That's.
Oh, sorry.
That's.
Yeah. Facts. It could be. Anyone else? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Any group here in the middle? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one. So also add on that. And everybody have your phone around you, right? What data it is processing now, or what data are you? Oh, sorry. It's like what are you doing with it? What are you doing with your phone right now? Nothing, right? Oh, you're taking notes. Okay, that's the one you're processing data. So you're by taking the notes, but most of you are like doing nothing with your phone. This is actually another kind of data. You're not doing anything with your phone, which the phone will probably collect that for the future using like your screen time. So everything is data. This is a kind of like a one perspective to review the world around you. You create data every day, you text, or yeah, like that. But like, what does a computer do with all the data? Like how, before that, probably we go through like how we learn from the data. So now you perceive a dog. The dog is named Cream. Actually, it's from one of my colleague, lovely dog. You have a picture of the Cream now. Now, can you tell Cream from this 6 pictures? Which one is Cream? Bottom middle? Yeah. So you just saw it like a second ago, and you immediately kind of tell it's a crane. You're not like a, so probably we will see like what we did in the happy face, like we'll detect the eyebrow, the eye, the smiling, but actually no, it's just like immediately I get that. I don't know the reason. So this is actually a really active research area right now. Like, how do we understand our brain? How do we understand our facilities in our human body? Actually, we don't know much about it. But for the AI system we created, we can kind of try to simulate this process. What we did here is first we will create a input data set. As you can see on the left, there are 6 pictures. What we will do is we will label each one. For example, the first picture is not cream. The second is not cream, not cream, not cream, cream, not cream. And we will train our models by those 6 pictures. Then we'll give them a new picture, and it will tell and identify it is cream. So those are how we train our machine and use it in our daily life. So the whole workflow here is the computer is trained by showing it a lot of sample inputs and desired outputs. The computer gets new information, the computer thinks about the new information, and finally, the computer decides based on its learning. So the next one is human AI interaction. AI developers strive to create agents that interact naturally with humans. So the interaction we're mentioning here is different from the talking. So for interaction, it's more about both sides thing, like two end. I talk, you talk, you give me the response, I give you the response. But for talking here, it's just referred to like a one guy do the speech all the times. So we kind of want to create a system working like a human. We want to interact with it, not just one and do the talk all the time. So let me do a quick poll here. How do you interact with people versus writing letters? Anyone here still write letters? No? Okay. Email? Yeah. Talk, that's the thing, one. Everybody talks, right? And finally, text message. Yeah. So probably nowadays nobody, not nobody is, many people choose not to write letters because it's less interaction during this process. So it's really important how we need the interaction with others. So it also works for the AI system. So, but even we did this with the human, the real person, we always have some misunderstanding and probably don't understand due to different culture, different background. And it also works for the AI system. So imagine a British English speaker interacting with a computer taught by American English speakers. And he said a sentence, "I'm skint." So probably the computer cannot understand what he means, because it's trained by American English corpus, which means data sets, databases. So we want to create AI system like comfortably, people can interact with it comfortably. And by the way, has anybody here know what's the meaning of skint? Okay, so it's just having no money in British English. Yeah. So there's one big name in computer science, Alan Turing, who considered this problem a lot, and he kind of conduct a imitation game, or we call it a Turing test, to test if the computer or the system is intelligent or not. So if it could talk like a human and trick a human into thinking he or she is talking to another person, it will be intelligence or not intelligence. So we really have a long way to go to interact naturally with the humans when we design the AI system. So that's kind of the aim we are trying to do. So now if it's just an exercise, if you had to test it, if a computer was really comfortable with humans, what would you try? Like if you want to say if it's interacting with really comfortably, what question or what criteria you will set for that? Can anybody give me some criteria?
What do you mean by when you say comfortable?
Yes, that's exactly what the question for. Like, it depends on people, like your definition to comfortable, because different people have different, I mean, then definition for the comfortable. Yeah.
Comfortably, like naturally, or?
Yeah, naturally. Yeah, more like naturally. Yeah. How it feel like? Ask the computer. That's a good one. And anybody else can give me? Yeah.
I would ask what it got up to.
That's also a good one. So probably what I refer here is more like what do you expect like when you interact with it? Like probably one of the question or one of the tests you can do is like test if it's responds you in a appropriate time. It's not too fast, it's not too long. So kind of like that. Can anyone else give me a task example? Yeah.
I would just see if they could answer a question that was like generative and not a yes or no question that responded the way that we have seen a lot.
Yeah, that's really a good one. So as you can see, we can have like different tests for this. Yeah, and those are kind of different criterias. We work it even in the real industry, but with like a much strict rules. So the last one is societal impact. The AI application can impact society in positive and negative ways. As I just mentioned, every technology has its positive and negative aspects. So now let's have a look at the self-driving cars. As I just mentioned, of course, it's not always a good thing, but it's actually depends on which group you're from, like what you represent for. So for example, here, if we take an example like non-self-driving car makers, can anybody share with me like what will non-self-driving car makers think when the self-driving technique come out? What's the impact on them? Yeah.
It would, like, it would maybe make a lot of jobs obsolete that require humans for it. But honestly though, for like truck drivers and taxi drivers, there still have legally there's someone behind the wheel as of yet. So it would have to be a while until that gets totally phased out. But I feel it's probably inevitable.
Yeah, that's a good start. Do you think it's mostly like negative or like positive for those people?
I feel like when some doors close, other doors open. You know, a lot of people don't work in textile mills anymore. You know, you're talking about that.
Yeah. So it's actually really hard to divide them in this two groups, like who is positively impacted, who is negatively impacted. It's more like a really complicated situation, like based on different time, different groups, different situation. So this is actually a really important question to always ask, but people really have different opinions on those. So with all AI, we probably can ask it 3 questions, like why is AI needed? Who may be impacted positively? Who may be impacted negatively? And those are just the 3 general questions. For different AI technique, we will have to ask different questions, more specific question for this societal impact.
So, just kind of playing off that, we talked about it a little bit, right? If you're thinking about self-driving cars, just looking at these questions, as a group, what do we think? Who might be some people who are positively impacted? Mo called out and said taxi drivers and, truck drivers. That might be a problem in the long run.
Yeah.
Who do we think might benefit from something like self-driving cars?
Yeah.
People who can't drive, right?
Yeah.
What else? Example.
Oh.
Manufacturers, right? Because you're able to sell new technology and be like, hey, cool, like this is a new upgrade you can have. What else, Mari?
People who like, get dropped, like, if you're seniors or something.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, had students who had their license and then got their license taken away because they have narcolepsy, and like, can't, you know, you're not allowed to do fall asleep at the wheel. But think about like beyond that, right? Like, what are some of the issues we're seeing right now with traffic? What are people doing that they maybe shouldn't be doing?
Texting, driving.
Texting, right?
Yeah.
Distracted driving is huge, right? Drunk driving, anything like that you shouldn't be doing. Sometimes in situations like that, you might want to be smarter than people.
Yeah.
Or if you're driving by a truck, has anyone ever driven by a big truck and then it makes them not nervous?
Oh my god, the truck was red, that's off the road, and coming back from Ohio. So, it's still this, push this.
Yeah, so you have other drivers who are out there who are scary drivers who like, I'm sorry, but people make stupid choices.
Yeah.
And if you have a machine, then obviously you wanna make sure it's trained properly. But sometimes, like, you get people out there who are like, I would never trust a machine to drive for me, and there are certain situations where I don't trust other people. So sometimes it is kind of like weighing that trade-off of which one do you think would be safer? Who's more predictable?
And it's funny because we've already moved from like only having manual cars to having the car make the decision of the years looking for us, and like listening to people who drive automatic cars. You might think that like we move to self-driving, but like that's the natural.
Yeah.
progression.
Yeah.
Or
It's like you have to choose between either or.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's a really important point. It's easier to blame computer error because it's machine, right? But like when we see the humanity of people and you're like, maybe it's this was going on, maybe this was going on. But if there's like a single accident that happens with a self-driving car, immediately all over the news, everything gets shut down, can't do it.
Yeah.
But how many accidents are there on a day-to-day basis that are because of human error? So what, like, how do we kind of have that trade-off?
Yeah, this is a really good discussion, and hope you all get a feeling how the decision we make will like impact the society and from different perspectives. So everyone will be impacted by AI in different ways, like we just discussed. And we kind of want you to believe your voice are needed to shape our AI-powered world. Even though you don't do AI stuff a lot, but we kind of use it every day, and it's really important to hear your voice too. So the next will be 2 hands-on activities. The first one is a teachable machine. Can everybody put out the laptop and go to the Teachable machine website? So Google Teachable machine. And it should be on the top. Then we go get started. Oh, has everybody get there?
Sure.
All right.
Uh,
Get started.
Amara, do you wanna borrow a Chromebook? It might be easier.
Or you can work with others. Yeah. Oh yeah, cool. And
Sometimes having it practice.
Yeah.
Have something to back it up on.
so click the first one, image project. So what it did is kind of like what we're doing here. We will build a classifier to tell if this is a sums up or sums down. So probably the first class is sums up, and we will click the webcam, and as you can see, are we good? All right, yeah. So as you can see, it will have your camera, and if you just hold to record, it will get some pictures for your training set, and you can.
Yeah, so get started, and then we want an image project.
Yeah.
So standard image model thing, yes.
Standard model, yeah. So probably you can have attention here first, and then you all do it by yourself. Like, so we do the sums up first, then we rename it like sums up. Then we'll do the second one, sums down. We can change the angle a little bit. Yeah. Then we can add another class called nothing. So we can just randomly collect some pictures, like whatever it is. So then we click the train model. It will take a while. Oh, and don't switch the tabs during the training. After the training, you will see there is a output here and at the bottom, and you see right now it's nothing. If I do the sums up, yeah, it will detect as sums up, and if I do sums down, it will detect as a sums down. So you can do a brief experiment on this by yourself now to see if it works. And after that, we will go back to the group and try to do something different. Yeah. Yeah.
So as you're training it, notice you wanna have a bunch of different photos.
Yeah.
Why do we think it might be important to have a bunch of different photos? Any thoughts? Yeah. Different angles, right?
Yeah.
If I say this is a thumbs up, and then all of a sudden I turn it and the computer's like, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Right, so you wanna make sure that you have a variety of training data.
So after you do some like experiments on this, we can go back to the group.
Yeah, we'll go to the groups that we were in this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it now.
Give yourself now. That one.
That's also good with more. You try it differently.
Yeah, it is.
Any questions?
Training it take a while, especially like the more photos, the more you have.
Yeah,
It really works. Work for everybody.
Like you have like an app,
Also,
right? Hold and show photos where it at.
it works.
Great, like it's still, we're saying you got a dog, right? You did it, and then you go to the dog, and all of a sudden you have a great day. There's the dog. You don't feel like what it is.
I did want, I can, but I don't mind. Hold on.
You're showing me. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So these models are only as good as the data that we put in the training data you put in.
So. And I just think like all the points down. And
So. Oh. So yeah, so maybe if you were doing it again, right, like you would have it up and you have people walking around in the background and.
Just collect like a 30 to 50, that'll be good for each. Nothing, yeah. Even us. Just
And then like,
yeah.
something like that.
Whatever. Or just, you don't get- yeah.
Yeah, we had one, on Monday, yeah, where they had like the black remote and they kept holding that up and I'm like, cool, this is up. And then, the white remote with the projector and the computer was like, I don't know what that is. It looks like it, we could categorize it, we could classify those people. So we have that understanding. That would be, but for computer,
yeah.
like, for AI, unless you tell us, here are the different options. It's gonna be like, no, this is different, I don't know.
Does it work?
It's not working.
Does it work?
Yeah, it's a little, it's just being a little goofy. Just, it really seems to be.
Right, so you should be clear that figure it out. Yeah.
So you should- Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You should plan on. Oh, yeah, sure. We'll go back to the group. Project.
Oh, it's good, it works.
It's good. Yeah. So, you can on the subsets stuff.
Oh.
Something different. It's just, use 3 classes and 1 subset. Oh, 1 subset, 1 many.
It does, it's on your phone. I thumbs down, good to go. Not saying.
Right. Oh, it's just.
Speaking of, I'm just trying to, I'm,
Doing last talk.
no, I'm trying to, I don't look angry.
Wait, what's?
I'm saying awesome.
Yeah.
That's so big.
Yeah.
Your computer's like,
It's no.
Maybe it's more, but. It works. Oh, and you can also change the classes.
It wasn't smart enough to know that number, did he move out of the picture? He moved out of the picture, yeah, because it started and then he was like, oh, no, yeah. But it was interesting where like with Alexis, she was doing it and she had it, but because I walked in the background, it was like, nope, we don't know what this is.
You see many. So
You have your 268.
That's a lot.
So probably want you to increase the size of the.
What possible barriers to something like this. Still,
Good work.
it's interesting you say that because what we were talking about on Monday.
Oh, okay.
DJ. was
May I do my thing again?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Is it okay?
Seeing everybody does the phone right now.
So there's and I think. It's one of the things that.
Or probably a little late. I want to let them do
Okay,
something.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably another 10 minutes.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump on a quick phone
Yeah,
call.
but you can like open that, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Can everybody go back to the group?
Okay, so we'll go back to our groups from this morning. So we got. We have zero hunger. Good health and well-being. And climate action. So we're gonna back to our groups.
So for each group, I want you to design a classifier for just whatever things you're interested in, like probably a cup, like is this a cup or not, or what fruit it is, like watermelon, grapes, like this, or just or some hand gesture like a rock and roll and peace, whatever. It's just each group design one classifier. And before that, because you already have the thumbs up and thumbs down and nothing, please remember to clear that to your new classes.
Clear, that's.
Yeah. I'll recommend like a 30 to 50 for each class.
So like here are your projects, and you're gonna come up with new classifiers.
So is it thumbs up, thumbs down with one of our classes?
Oh,
Category or
it depends how many you want.
You like, no problem.
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
Do like pen. Some of those would be-
One per group.
You want to do this?
I mean,
I think it's the same thing for everyone. Think so, right? It's the same shoe, like it was the shoe at the end.
Yes, you'll do on one, you're gonna out.
What you guys are gonna have it maybe start.
Right.
Everybody should. You could, yes, you could do like,
You know, you could do, yeah. Yeah. And then you see. Not shoes. Or shoes with the second. Okay.
Yeah, probably fine. Just remember. Remember, clear the numbers.
Cause I only know three.
what if we have that to like.
You're doing this experiments.
Oh, yeah. Oh, on the ground, right? Or your food's already on the ground. You just said you recorded. All right, what does it do? How do you do it?
Like, press the, setting.
Guys, if you are trying to get a recording and you need both of your hands free, so you can't hold down, there's a settings tab next to the recorder button. That you would make it so you don't have to press it for it to roll.
You mean this one? Oh, really? Actually, I don't know them. But they kind of are students. Before, yeah.
But the category was shoe, the picture of each.
Yeah.
Using.
That's it, like right here.
So, like, this is one option for shoe, one option for shoe.
Well, it's because I will spend only having.
Just a quick note. Yes, everybody, just a quick note. When you are doing those experiments, try to see what cases, which cases you fail, which cases you succeed. Probably you can change different angles or change different light conditions. Those can help you. Does it work? I'm probably not.
I'm gonna treat you. I am by nature happy, rice, I'm separated from the three of us.
If it not work well, it's try to increase the data set, the size of the data set, probably to 100 pictures. But don't go crazy like 1,000 or 10,000. Yeah.
Only at 500.
Doing like-
Category.
How do you decide where to start? Like. Yeah, what are we trying to know? Where we decide? It's the rocks. Should I? Do a picture of a hand, so it's like all like, that could be an option.
So I'm wondering.
So.
Yeah.
A show.
Cause I bet if you had like a word or read. Oh, those Okay.
Yeah. After they fail.
You know, and you have to train on.
Does it work?
Okay. What is it?
Are you a mo? What's the friend that the people do?
Here is, you should use the categories related,
I think
not just go crazy like one, all I want to get shows.
That's we changed. that.
Yeah. Also doing the accuracy on the top.
Yeah, so if you had someone jump in with glasses, they would immediately. But then have it, you know, have it.
Should we rename this? Maybe.
Why do you say that?
Oh, okay.
This is under the under caption.
So this is computer vision, so if you're thinking about like anything with a self-driving car, it needs to be able to direct, like, it's really like, so now you have to like, anything with
5 different answers.
tech.
I did, Sam didn't want to.
Yeah.
Sam-
Same thing where.
Ironically, I had so much.
Being able to look at an image or maybe
You worked hard.
I was thinking really that. I can't. I was at the next year. It's like. What do you have to do? Just the data collection, it's like,
Well, it is, but like this, it's meant as a, like learning about how AI.
Yeah, good.
Or, I mean, big things here, silvers.
The red one.
Desktop Snapchat filter, trying to identify like what's like for eyes.
It's telling me. Yeah. Me, like, I have.
That should be a reply. You can criticize the girl about it.
That's where, so, the White House put out an AI overprice. They're like, right, things are happening without us. And without. And so you do have people who are saying. In AI, like, hey,
Let me walk around and see.
well, now it's not so easy to do something like a guardrail. So, doing it for them, jump in.
I tried, I don't have to look like a Sean.
Okay.
And a little bit of Sam.
Wait, can I take you on answer?
Yeah. Who are you? Who are you?
Talk about the that use of AI. You and
It's not me now.
I'm combination. I'm being. Oh my god, you live in it, dude. Oh, I can't, I'm gonna take you. I'm doing it. I think it's. It would probably be a lot of.
I know.
The new word.
I feel like just.
I'm gonna double check. That was me and me. I think it's because it had you at an angle. Yeah.
It's getting wrong.
Hello.
Can you try to figure out?
It's fine.
Yep. It's a gentleman,
Probably off of the light condition. Yeah, it'll light it. Yeah.
I've made a.
And also. Oh, yeah.
We should have studied this. Haotian, just on the end. Okay, so what do you guys? How did it deal with the? No? Okay. So yeah, same thing. Okay.
And then you put them in using.
Okay, well. Oh, I see. It's what are being called. Wait. Yeah, so I'm wondering if we're gonna do. So I.
Yeah, I figured
That is a
Yeah.
thing. Where can you go? And it's clear, like, and I'm. And then I'll do the bad. But when it's. It's not.
I don't
So, but indeed,
Have a look
I.
at what's.
Like this.
Kind of.
Because right now we can see. Red is not in the. First one, like, but it's black.
So my mother's side is something.
But there's only five of them. Yeah, that is like cross, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, let's see. Do you still have it right up that model?
Yes.
Oh, wait, okay, let me come back.
We're gonna see. But like, it's in
Paper!
So just because of like.
So I was originally considering it. I really sit there now. It's working. But now it's.
It's kind of long hair, and you know, long hair. It's great. Every time we come to the theater, it's really crazy with that.
Now I'm done. Okay, now it's all done.
Yeah.
Right.
And also.
It's very good. Between the whole puppies.
Yeah, you can just.
Love it.
Hold it and.
And then you're like, cool. There you go.
But don't go crazy like a wall. Just around the corner. Just around the corner.
And like, okay, well, here we go, here we go. Yeah, you know, great, like, going long ways that you're having technology.
It's like you don't actually. You don't
Wait, you?
It's very wild.
Yeah.
Now he wears a tape now. He's like, so. Yeah, we were on vacation
Yeah.
together.
Alright, alright.
Yeah. Oh, Rick's over there, yeah. But then you move it. And I right. And I'm like, even like you're in the forest, if I try to run away, like it goes off exactly the way they had it.
Yeah.
What happened? What did it tell you? What you put up? I put up the paper, you put up scissors, so you want. Okay, I gotta get closer.
Wait, what?
No.
Yeah.
Well, so technically, yeah, because I know all the right. I mean, it's.
Only.
That's, well.
Oh, you can do it
fair to fair.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. We was right now.
Yeah, you look like Rocket Rob.
So probably just probably one here, not.
Better. Fine, maybe you do like some big way that makes it rock or something. Yeah, no, and then it's because it's going to be like. Rock, oh, I think they're rock. How long did you get there? Rock, it's because it's the state. So, yeah, so you can do like 3 things. Yeah, so. If you're like, or if you put down big like. You had this big rock. You're dealing with it.
Oh, yeah, we did more, like, we just took videos of all of us.
Yeah, islands is where they are.
You guys ever get any?
Yeah.
It's not where I leave, it's where I live. No, it's not illegal that I live there, it's just illegal that I live government.
So it is too. Right, and another cohort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Your paper. No. This one.
Okay. So is it, you wanna go? Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Duck,
I'm sure that him do that. But it's fine. We can do it. Probably just, yeah, we'll have a 10 minutes.
I don't know, you.
well, if we wanna do, right now, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a short break, because Dr. Ray is stuck on a call and he's gonna come lead the next part. So we're gonna take a short break, run out back, stretch your legs. We'll come right back and we're gonna jump into something still with computer vision and with teachable machines. But that will kind of segue then into the next portion of the day. So it is, yeah, it's 12, if you guys can be back down to 15. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Stretch your legs.
They call me the champion of the letter N.
Okay. Oh, thank you. And
Yes.
I want back in here, butts and seats, 215. Of the discussion. Perfectly into our final activity for. Yeah, so I was just gonna say this building directly into our final activity.
Yeah.
You're all good.
So. You just did teachable machine. And so yesterday when I came in, I was super jazzed when I saw teachable machines. Cause this is like, that's my jam, teachable machines. It kind of sounds geeky, but a long time ago, like when you guys were in elementary school and stuff. There's a commercial on the Super Bowl. It was Common, the musician and actor. You didn't know Common? I don't know if you guys know him. So he came on this Microsoft commercial. You may have seen it come out a different couple of times. He goes, AI is everywhere. It's in here, and all this stuff. And he goes, the question is, what are you going to do about it? So, I'm on the couch with my 3 kids, and they were little at the time, and I was like, I don't know, Colin, what am I going to do about AI? This is the first mainstream artificial intelligence commercial ever. Now that it's everywhere. So I looked at my kids, and I was like, hey, kids, do you know what artificial intelligence means? They all looked at me like, yeah, Dad, we use it on our Xbox. It recommends videos on YouTube, tells us what we want to watch on Netflix. We use it for our home Google device. We use it to try to unlock Mom's phone on her facial recognition. And I was like, who taught you this? And they said, no one. We're growing up with this stuff. And I was like, that's crazy. So that night after Super Bowl, I started researching more about artificial intelligence. And then I went back to my school the next day. I was working for a school district. I was a curriculum director at the time. And I said, what are we doing to teach AI? They was like, nothing. Nobody's teaching AI. And I was like, oh my goodness, we're missing the boat. And so I went to some of my friends at Carnegie Mellon, and I said, what are we doing? What can we do? And they said, let's figure something out. Then we went up to MIT. And then we started visiting all these different places. I met a guy, then we visited Google in New York City. His name was Byron Webster. He says, well, actually, we're trying to teach these really difficult concepts like artificial intelligence. And we're trying to break it down into these experiments. We're called AI experiments, where kids discover and play with AI, the adults. I said, can we do this with like middle school, high school students? He's like, yeah. He's like, what are you working on? He goes, well, I just developed this. It's in prototype. It's called Teachable Machines. This thing he just did. And I was like, that's so cool. So I went back, we did this, and Teachable Machines, this is like Teachable Machines 2.0, 3.0 version. And so we went back, this is the first thing we started teaching about AI. And it wasn't just teaching about learning confidence, it's just teaching other things. So my son's in high school now, and he was in 6th grade. I said, hey, let me show you this Teachable Machines thing. So he and his friends, what they did was they would take a piece of paper and they would like hold it up to it. You know how you have to hit it so many times to teach it and it does something, right? They were trying to cut a corner off it or put like brown versus red and try to trick it with different colors that are kind of like it a little bit. And that's what he did a science experiment on. So he did the science experiment at a school on Teachable Machines. Byron and his team found out about it. They brought him to New York City. He presented to Google. He was in 6th grade. This Teachable Machines project, wrote an article on it. And listen, if my son walked in there, I love him to death. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed either, right? So like he's coming in, he's learning all this stuff. He's like his dad, and we're not too smart, right? So he did, and this project went into Google Museum. So here we are, kind of fast forward. You're learning about this stuff, and the learning confidences are cool. But to me, what makes this even the best thing to learn about? Who do you think? So Byron was a white 22-year-old man developing this technology, right? Who do you think develops all these technologies? Like different people, right? It's not, they don't still fall from the sky. So people are programming this. So what I like about this is that I like to see who's programming, why they're programming it. It leads me to find other things to start discovering. So in our curriculum that we wrote about artificial intelligence, as I dug more into it, we actually took a dive away from the technical side into the ethics side of things about AI. So two things I want to show you really quick. One, if you go to this thing called Experiments with Google, this is where Teachable Machines lives, along with all these other collections of there's like, okay, view all collections. So there's like literally AI experiments. So there's like all these experiments on there about artificial intelligence. But I want to show you two things. One, you sitting where you are today don't have to wait in the future to do this stuff. If you click on any of these. All right, so we have this experiment here, launch. So you see where it says this was developed in October 2021. See those names up there? See the names? So those are people that developed these experiments. You can Google these people, and I know one of you, at least in this room, LinkedIn with me on LinkedIn. So if you start your LinkedIn account, we could teach you how to do that, right? Then we can you can contact them or find their email address and say, hey, this is pretty cool what you did here. Tell me more about it. And they'll invite you to Google. They'll invite you to like work with them on this stuff, not like 5 years from now, like now. And the neat part is if you have an idea, this part is to submit your experiment. And a lot of people don't know about this one. This is where like, and I use my son, for example, not to say, oh, he got his thing in Google. He got his thing in Google because nobody was doing teachable machines. He was like, he wasn't smart at it. He was just doing it where nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is submitting experiments to Google in their team. Nobody else is contacting these people to say, hey, tell me more about this. So you could submit your own idea, an own experiment to Google, and they'll help you publish your stuff and work with you to publish your idea. So if you want to learn, if you come across something, boy, why does that do that? I wonder what the science and technology is behind it. I'm going to explore it, and I'm going to get Google to help me do it. And that's their job for free. Like they have a creative team, and their job is to help you and help you design some stuff. So anyways, that's that. But the bigger part I want to share with you is something that literally blew my mind. We're only going to watch like the first minute or two. So this is the video we showed everyone. Actually, Joy, who came on here, she actually went back and audio. I'm sorry. I had Joy come talk to the students when we did this. So that learning confidence thing you were doing, teaching the machine. Oh yeah, she did something on here that was just like freakishly, like when I saw this, my mind went to a whole other level. And I took I think Emma's talking about programming car or something like that. Like you got to be careful who's programming these things behind you and why it's important. So here's Joy, freakishly. This is crazy. It's called gender shades.
Hi, I'm Joy, and I research how computers detect, recognize, and classify people's faces. In my TED featured talk, I spoke about my experience with the coded gaze, my term for algorithmic bias. The system I was using worked well on my lighter skinned friend's face, but when it came to detecting my face, it didn't do so well, until I put on a white mask. After my talk was posted,
doesn't that like blow your mind? Like it didn't recognize the machine, like the teachable machines you're in front of. It didn't recognize she was a person until she put on a white mask, and they recognized she was a person. So who was training them? Who was training the machine the whole time? White people, white men specifically, because the white mask is one thing, but it was the jawline. That's why it's gender. Okay, because it was recognizing men. All the men are programming these machines. So she went on, she's like, holy cow. So it's not just like a machine thing. It's a whole cultural bias ethics thing that goes and play with it. So you could maybe say, you know what, the tech thing doesn't interest me, but I want to do an experiment on something around culture, something around like biases, something that's, represents my community, my family. I don't know the tech stuff, but I could bring the other stuff to the game.
And that's where it gets really cool on your end. And I'll just do like 30 more seconds of this and we'll move on.
Tested my speaker image profile across different facial analysis demos. 2 of the demos didn't detect my face. The other 2, well, they misgendered me. The demos didn't even distinguish between gender identity and biological sex. They just provided 2 labels, male and female. Now I wanted to see if these results were just because of my unique facial features, or if this was something that was more of a pattern across other.
So she went on a couple 4 minutes later, she went on and tested this and pretty much came out that all this technology is broken because people are programming it. What they weren't, there's no diversity in the background of it, and it just screwed everything up. So now she's a professor at MIT. And one of our instructors yesterday, Nora, was in here. She goes, so you know Joy? And I was like 8 years ago, I knew her when she zoomed in. She's like, she's like really famous right now. Like I reached out and I had to go through her agent and try to even talk to her. And she's like $10,000 for a minute to talk to her. Something. It was crazy. So here she is like super famous because of this. But, overarchingly, when it comes to the AI, so like 8 years ago, I wrote this curriculum called K-12 curriculum on AI, and we taught to everyone. And our teachers are like, I don't know anything about AI. And I'm going to say the same thing I'm going to tell you that I told them. This AI thing's like brand new, and it impacts criminal justice systems, agricultural, everything. And you learning about it today, thank you, by the way, appreciate you, puts you ahead of 99.9% of the population in the world. And if you just want to say, boy, I'm really interested, so not so much in the technology of it, but I'm interested in how roses can grow in a garden faster. This is how it gets done. I'm interested in how we can cure cancer. You can only cure cancer through artificial intelligence with 40 years of research that's being used to help with algorithms to help create medicines. So like you actually can do anything you want to, and you don't have to go to school for 50 years. You can do it now and go to school and change the world, be rich, but anyways, we just gave you some really cool things to look up in the meantime. Like I told you this morning, email these people, call these people, and say, hey, what can I do to help out? ReadyAI, the team here, stay in touch with them. Just so, anyways, that's any questions what I just said? Comments, anything? I'm sorry.
Are you surprised, or is maybe expected? Why?
Their faces too.
Can't always do it wrong. And it'll say, my mom is wrong.
Okay.
So the crazy thing is like, you can actually take that and go to someone at Google and those names or submit an experiment to help with whatever you want to correct and be part of the solution. That's like the world right here is in your palms to say, this is right. And I'm going to do about something, and I'm going to work with Justin and Emma and Steph and the team here at Google, and I'm going to fix it. And I'm going to fix it for 3 billion people. Like that's the cool.
No, but I wasn't. But I feel like it's interesting for
I feel this is word I'm looking for. Candidates be like, oh, this is so cool, it's making sure that like all this AI stuff is super inclusive, but I'm also like, oh, it's really convenient that, you know, whoever wants to gain data and statistics about people of color, but like in the real, not artificial world, there's still like a ton of race equities or gender equities, whatever, like it's like, okay, the data's convenient, so they can do whatever with it. You know, they tech or whatever, but like.
So it could, but to your point, it could be used for good. Someone say, I want to do something. It could be used for a lot of bad things too. But that's where the good has to step up and say, do something about this. Like, did you ever see remember Pokemon Go? Here's one. TikToks. Anybody have TikTok or Instagram? Or Threads or the new one that came out, right? Did you ever read the disclaimer when you click, I agree to these terms? Did you ever read those?
Yes.
So, hey, true story. You can Google this and say, give me the dummy version of Instagram or TikTok. It'll show you. It knows your finances, where you are right now, access to your photos, access to how much money you spend online. Any online thing you have, it has data and services around that. And it can tell you what it is. It can tell you your ethnic, it can tell you anything, how much money you have, how many people live in your family, or whatever. So they use that information on to say, boy, I'm really good at this stuff. What they use this, they say, I know that there are a lot of rich people that live in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania. So I'm going to sell this data to this consumer product to open up high-end car places to buy more cars for rich people in Mount Lebanon. Like that's what they use this data for, like all this crazy stuff you don't know about. So we're giving them this information, all this information, and they sell it to make money because people want to buy that information from them. Or we could say they got all this information. I'm going to go to what I'll work for Google, which I think a lot of places are doing Instagram and saying like, well, what good can we do with this? But you can be part of that good too, as well.
So this ties in. This ties in though to the discussion we had this morning with Mike from Hart, where this kind of stuff is happening no matter what. So it's important to make sure that you have organizations in place who are like trying to put up some guardrails and see what's actually happening and how do we make sure that we do this in a responsible way. Because all of this stuff, like you saw with Teachable Machines, you were programming. Anytime you're building AI is going to have bias because people have biases. And so you can't really get rid of that unless you have more and more people from different backgrounds in the room at every step along the way to be able to say, okay, cool, that's great, but what else are you missing? What other voices are missing in this room? How are the things that you're seeing? How could they, be used for good? How could they be used for bad? So making sure that we have people from a whole host of backgrounds to be able to point those out, because people don't know what they don't know.
And don't assume someone else is speaking on your behalf. You speak on your behalf to represent.
I did see yesterday that OpenAI was a potential class action lawsuit developing because of data collection that users and non-users did not agree to. And like the information's not only collected, but also shared in a way that wasn't disclosed. So I'm curious to see how that developed. Because like I just said on the ChatGPT from today, it didn't get rid of it.
So yeah, there's a lot happening right now. Keep an eye on this space in the news.
Yeah.
It's leads us right into the next activity.
Yeah, it's really leads to the next activity. So the next activity is recidivism. Oh my god, I'm so bad at that.
Recidivism.
I can't see it.
Recidivism. So if you're talking about in the criminal justice system, Has anyone heard of the term recidivism as it pertains to criminal justice?
Isn't it when you go back to jail?
People go back to jail. Yeah, and so, that's the thing, also chance of reoffending. Right, so we're gonna do something on the idea of recidivism. And we will break it down, but this is gonna be kind of a discussion in your groups of which ones, like what models and choosing a model.
Yeah.
Of what's gonna make the most sense.
Yes. So probably we can hand out this.
Yeah. So, Amara, can I have you jump back over in your group?
Hey, by the way, your presentation, I reviewed them are awesome. Good job, everyone. Each week, we're gonna build from your presentation and at the end, shock the world.
So real quick, with the activities, we need to have all of these papers back at the end. Cause you are getting a sneak peek of something that is not public yet. So,
Only if you're ready, this is.
yep.
Good.
With that thing, I mean,
It's what, you know what we like to say around here? Everything we got to ready, inclusive, so inclusive, nobody in the world can do it. So it's inclusive where everybody in the world can channel. Right, thank you.
All right. So before we go dive into this handouts, let me do a brief.
So, yeah, this handout has a lot of information. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Take it, flip it upside down. You see in the back, white.
Yeah. So I really need all of you to like really pay attention, like in the next 5 minutes. So let's talking about how we can evaluate our AI models. Let's see, I show you 100 pictures and ask you to decide if this is a hot dog or not hot dog. This is called a binary classification because there are only two choices. There is a hot dog or there isn't a hot dog. The percentage of photos you correctly classified is we call accuracy. So we can further break down this into specific types and errors. Let's take a look on the bottom right. This one. This is the model predicted this is a hot dog, which is correct. This is a true positive because there is a hot dog in the picture and the model guessed it correctly. Next, let's take a look on the top left. The model predicted is not a hot dog, which is correct. So this is a true negative because it is true that you predicted it's not a hot dog. The next is a false positive on the top right. You predict it as a positive, but it is a false because it is actually not a hot dog. The last one is a false negative. You predict it as negative, and it is not a hot dog, but you are false. It is actually a hot dog. Okay, so that's a lot of hot dog here.
So to break down, you'll notice here, right? True, true, negative, negative, positive, positive. So negative is saying the AI is saying, nope, not a hot dog. True negative means, yeah, it was right. It's not a hot dog. A false negative is the machine said it's not a hot dog, but it actually is. So the AI is wrong. On the other side, the machine said, yeah, definitely a hot dog. On top, it's a dog in a hot dog soup. That's not actually a hot dog, but the machine's tricked and said, yeah, it is. So that's false, meaning that like the machine was wrong in saying that yes, it is a hot dog. On the bottom, the machine was right in saying yes, it is a hot dog. So that's kind of where you're breaking it down. Like it said it was right, it's saying yes. It was wrong, it was saying yes. It was right in saying no, it was wrong in saying no. So that's kind of where you're breaking down those terminologies.
So add on what Emma just mentioned, the only two correct are the dark blue one, but dark blue too, and the false one are the just white one here. So so our accuracy would be the number of choose positive plus the number of choose negative over the total number you classified, which means the percentage of things you correctly classified.
So on this chart, it came up with 4 different tablets. So that's our box. How many did it get right? 2. So about 2 out of 4, it's only correct half the time. That's not great.
So keep that in mind. You may think that false positive and false negative are not useful as choose positive and choose negative to calculate the overall accuracy. But actually, this all other metrics might give you really valuable insight of the models. So let's see this scenario. We have an AI system for machine to screen the patient's diseases. So can anyone help me volunteer to answer this question? Which one is worse? False positive or false negative? Which one is worse in this scenario? I'll repeat the scenario again. So yeah.
Write it down. So you have a machine that is screening to figure out like the chances of a disease. 2 options. It says, yes, you're gonna get sick, but it was wrong saying that. You're not actually gonna get sick, but it tells you you are. Or it says, no, you're not gonna get sick, but it's wrong and you actually are. So which one's worse? Saying, yes, you're gonna get sick, but you're not actually going to? Or saying, no, you aren't gonna get sick, but you are. Negative? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's giving you that like false sense of security.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, so in this case, false negative is much worse than the false positive because we don't want people to miss the disease. But it is probably okay to have few extra people who don't have the disease to undergo like further testing or whatever. So the next scenario is, so we have like our smartphone and we should use our fingerprint to unlock it. So which is the worst one? False positive or false negative?
So meaning it scans your fingerprint and says, no, that's not you, you can't get in. Or you can scan anyone's fingerprint and it's like, oh yeah, that's you, and unlocks.
Yeah.
False positive, meaning like you're doing it and saying, no, that's not it. No. Oh, right, so that anyone can scan it. Okay.
Think that's one worse? Yes, exactly. So in this scenario, false positive is worse because it's fine. It doesn't recognize your fingerprint sometimes, but you really don't want it to accidentally open by someone else's fingerprint. So to summarize here, you can always have a look or review on this. The accuracy is a percentage of things you correctly classified. The false positive rate is of all the things that were actually positive. How many did you get wrong? False negative rate is of all the things that were actually negative. How many did you get wrong? And the disparity is actually the difference between the different groups with the 3 criteria in this activity. So can I have some volunteer to help us read out loud the probably I'll mention the activity first. So we will have 4 persona on the first page, and in each group we will have 4 different persona. But for a group like 3, one of you should play 2 roles or 2 persona.
So here we've got group 4. Each of you is gonna pick a persona.
Yeah.
For the groups of 3, one person's gonna double up. Here's what I'm gonna say. If you are the if you're the fairness advocate, you only get 1 thing. So I don't want to see a fairness advocate who's a fairness advocate and a defendant. Okay, so decide in your groups who's gonna get 2 roles, who's gonna play 2 different roles. Sure.
Yeah, and after that you will review the
And we're gonna break down something about each of these roles.
Probably we will like read out this persona out.
Yeah.
So can anybody volunteer me to read the judge?
So let's do that. So real quick, in your groups, I want everyone to take 30 seconds. Just identify, you don't need to read the descriptions yet.
Sure.
Identify who's the judge, who's the defendant, who's the fairness advocate, and who's the community member. Now, the 3 of you, you get to pick. This step is joining, you can assign her what she gets. So then that way you don't have to double.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, so, thumbs up, we good on rolls? Okay, gonna tell Miss Steph what she is? I'm the judge. You're the judge? Okay, so real quick, with this activity, as I said, this is not public knowledge, so this is. Right. This is about an AI that is determining about public safety, right? That someone is going to court and is trying to figure out, okay, are they going to offend again? They're going in and they're trying to, like, in terms of sentencing, trying to see what is gonna happen. Do they get a short sentence, a long sentence, are they gonna be in jail, can they get out? Whatever. The AI is trying to determine what's the chances that this person is going to reoffend, meaning that if they get let out, they're gonna do something again to end up in jail. The scary thing is, this is actually a debate that's happening right now of whether or not we should have AI involved in sentencing. So you are gonna work through in groups to debate which AI model is best based on what your groups think. So, real quick, just to make sure we're on the same page, because this is tricky stuff. Can I have one person in a group who's a judge read out what the description is for the judge? Volunteer, be voluntold.
Yours.
So that second paragraph is gonna be the same across all of them. Everyone's gonna have different things that they care about. So you need to be respectful and express what you think is the right model. You're advocating for the models that you think are gonna be the best bet. But as a group, you're trying to come to a decision. Now, I wanna stress this. Anita said, as a judge, you wanna have high accuracy. So you want this model to be right. You don't want a chance at being wrong, because then it undermines you as a judge. Right, it makes you look bad. We don't want that. Can I have someone read the defendant? Sam.
As the defendant, you are most worried about being falsely predicted as well offending it. In this case, you probably want the model to have a number of false positives.
Okay, so let's break that down. What does that mean? If you're not gonna do it again, you don't want the AI saying, nope, you're gonna offend again. You should stay in jail for longer. You don't want that to happen. You want it to be fair, but you also wanna make sure that there are less times where it says, yep, you're gonna be a problem. You want a lower false positive rate. Okay, community member, and someone read the community member.
As a community member, you want your neighborhood to be safe by protecting your neighbors from potential recidivism. When facing the outcomes of the algorithms, you care the most about reducing the number of reoffending communities. In this case, you probably want the model to have lower false negative. However, your teammates who play other roles in the system may prioritize other metrics. Throughout the deliberation, please express your value, respect their concerns, and negotiate.
So, what does that mean? If you're a community member, you want things to be as safe as possible. You don't want anyone out who could be a problem in the future. So you think about as we're talking about this, who might be at odds, right? They want things to be as safe as possible. So if there's gonna be, you want a lower false negative, meaning if it's saying, no, you're not gonna be a problem, but it's wrong, you don't want that. Right? And then a fairness advocate. And I just want to be a fairness advocate.
From this, thanks, probably. Yeah, sure.
As a fairness advocate, you want to prevent the unfair treatment on some demographic. You don't want the recidivism algorithm to be biased against one demographic. In this case, you want the model to have a lower disparity.
So this ties in perfectly with gender shades, right? We saw it worked well with white men, but it didn't work well with black women. That's disparity. That's where the model does not perform the same based on different demographics. So if you're the fairness advocate, you want to make sure that this model can apply for everyone. So the lower disparity, the better. Okay? In your groups, what I want you to do, you have like 8 different models to review. Think about what you care about, what your role cares about.
Yeah.
And I want you to go through, review the models and figure out maybe 2 or 3 different models that you're okay with.
As a group.
No,
So you
individual.
just in your role, in your persona, which are ones that are okay with you, which are ones that are definitely not okay.
Yeah, we should work on that individually to about like 10 minutes. And there is a table on the first page to kind of get you through. So you can like focus on different goals, like face for the different column. So
I just want to draw attention to what Haotian just said on this front. Hold on, real quick. This will make it easier for everyone. So you're gonna look at the individual models because it does break it down more. But if you want a clear snapshot on the very front page, you have a table where you can see accuracy, false positive rate, false negative rate, disparity. Now, notice for disparity, there's 3 different columns that you have to care about. So if you're the fairness advocate, you're looking at 3 different things. The disparity in accuracy, the disparity in false positives, and the disparity in false negatives. So you take all 3 into consideration.
So we'll do that individually until 3. Then we'll go back to the group discussion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's more better. Thank you so much for help that.
And yeah, I mean, this is just like, honestly, being able to get yeah, because it kind of breaks it down to them, like be like, okay, here's what it is. Yeah.
Actually, we can just read it if you this is just like a long term.
No, and this is fantastic. But they understand it more, right? Because here they know that they're looking about that, but they don't know what it is. But to be able to have like this example, visual, right? Like your picture is done, but this visual, to be able to be like, oh, yeah, positive, saying that yes, but no. Here it's saying no, but yes. Yeah. Cool.
Correct. Sure.
So you can do it.
So I might see when we're kind of doing like a recap, but I'll definitely get your all very. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Always true. So which also positive rate. Oh, it is.
Yeah. Also you're not all yeah. So right now yeah. Yeah, probably, yeah.
Everybody, a quick attention, please. So as you can see, the green one, the accuracy should be the lower the better. And for positive rates, for negative rate and disparity, it should be. Sorry, what? Oh, the higher the better. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Green one. So accuracy should be the higher the better. The rest of 3 should be the lower the better.
Sorry. Forget it.
I want Marvel to read.
Yeah, probably save that after.
Oh, we don't think so. I hate seven. I don't do that. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe this one. Five. Maybe five. It's not that. I mean, yeah, I'm not waiting for share. But no, see, that was like. Yeah, yeah. Trying to work. That's not that, it's not that.
So, as you're debating, as you are debating and deciding, keep in mind, you are gonna have to share out as, like, what you decided on as a group, you're gonna have to share that out to everyone of what model or models you picked and why. So you might wanna take some notes if you are discussing.
And always remember the role you play. Maybe you will not agree with it, but keep that, because you are that role.
You can, we'll shred them. Yeah, you can write on these papers, we'll shred them at the end.
How did you have a 9% false negative?
Which one was your?
I heard. Oh, what's your this one? Oh, you gotta tell us? It's for this one. I think it's seven.
No, 8.
Don't go on that. I know which one I made.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do something.
Yeah.
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 And none of them like a lot.
I'd ask for this to tell you the best stuff.
No, I didn't want to do that, so everyone else knows my lab. In hindsight, not a time.
It's very, the difference.
But problem is that too.
The difference. Yeah. Yeah.
Like number 3 versus. Not really bad. Not hurting anyone else. It's really good. What is it that's higher?
And I feel like all of the things, so first of all, yeah.
Which other ones do we have?
I like. Teachable. There's no information we're not doing. There's the idea of figuring out where for this time. See, I've just been learning and then going out. But it's got. Yeah. Now I don't have really. But also, and like, it's like, especially with that, it's kind of like, we'll get into a little bit. Or it's funny, I would rather. That kind of not. And you were. That I like a lot, where we have having yeah.
Word about this.
Now. Right, right, and that's, and I'm not, they don't. There are. But. Something like this does. Even if I'm asking to career, yeah. How's it going? Okay, what do you got?
So.
Yeah.
But
I let people go.
Yes, 5 has a Are you having some words like I never?
Probably.
No, leave it to speak on the line.
Yeah.
Where I would a.
What's holiday come?
I have a little fan food.
Yeah, your best of luck.
If I start on feeling that, I feel straight with that, I find it so. But if I do.
We needed to.
Out for all of them.
Oh, no.
So. And then.
Oh,
Oh, for the debate.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you want to make that too.
We need one of these,
We get all of them. And then realize. Right.
And I get one more.
So like it's like.
If I can figure out where.
No,
No, I-
and then
we
we
go
go
up.
like.
Oh, you can take
We
it.
look to see what.
There's no, right, but I want this is lower, and it's. This is lower. And so then I think that because you need.
but as you're proven.
But it is.
But you're not building up yourself.
Then by taking the one. I meant they were.
But not with four.
So you
are already live.
Yes.
Like the one.
It's bad for my.
Well, not model five. Just those two columns.
So they're trying to make.
Yeah, it was great, and then I explained that movie part of it, and I wanted to use to put in. Right, and then they keep. So, I got like four of those, I'm scared about all the data, and that's why I. Are you good making, do you have your, like, argument that the why you picked five?
And there's no conflict.
I think someone else needs to share what the reasoning is, and you're just like, I do.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay.
There's no possible way. Like on the friend.
Yeah, it's two or.
Okay.
But my other person.
Okay.
Read this one before you can make balance and like, okay, but no.
No. Yeah, yeah, go add the group, what we say.
We're still, I'm like, I'm trying to use myself in this, oh no, actually, I'm thinking more like. Based on what they do, which is definitely.
Okay.
I'm just so back, wait back.
Because she doesn't mind it. Five and seven.
Trying to convince them, and give them a hard time.
Like reaction though, to be like, okay, you're saying this, and then Alexa's like,
A, 2, 4, and 5. and 7.
So,
And I.
yeah, we want to put number five. I didn't want number five. So I'm in community now. Number five is the worst one for community. However, I really don't believe because apparently democracy, you know, of course, it's not an accurate.
seven, overlaps.
However.
So then what do those things mean? And what are the implications? Cause I did hear Alexis earlier saying like, I'm not trying to be in jail.
Yeah, oh, we want to best of two models.
That's fine.
That's the two, you two.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm going to see somebody. We should like, we should.
That's good. Hold on, after the report, what's going on there? Okay, so we're there. What's the plan? Okay. So we don't, it's not.
It's worse. But everybody else is not good for either.
No, but we said 43 too, because like. It's really interesting because yesterday.
You know what we say, you know, what people say, it's like, we didn't have any raise back.
Pilots, how many left in head?
That's the video.
It's just. They're like, okay, you got, starting to like, yeah, great.
Who had the heart?
You know, like,
Oh.
Or it's like similar, here you got like two down.
They were.
No.
I have no idea. Oh, you're a poor community. Yeah.
But that's kind of saying like, okay, they are saying no to it. Probably might have people that want to do it. Yeah. And based on the data and we're looking to use that. Oh, that's. Yeah. It's always. What is
I mean, I'm only one.
We're gonna do this. Yeah, and it's the same thing where it's like, it's like not very hot then. Yeah. Yeah, 86 are. Both of them are very. Yeah, you're not gonna get out. And no fun. No fun.
Very, very. If I didn't get out, I didn't get out.
That's recommended at the end of 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes, then we'll go back to the large group. 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, I know. Well, like that. Yeah.
So really, we're gonna actually decide.
Calling that out. No. Well, recognize those people. Very much like, I think that's. You don't recognize them, right? You don't recognize Get it wrong. Also,
I want you to have to really explaining our. There is one thing that's.
For me, they know what it's. It's just we can.
But the whole thing.
Let's make our final decision. What's the best two models for each group?
No, 3 and 5, the lowest one off there. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not your problem. And you trying to get out. That's actually great. And for you, if you're trying to get out.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have everybody's attention here? Let's go back to here. So, let's go through the first, which models should we pick? 3 and 4. Okay, next group. 3 and 4. Okay. Here. 5 and 7. Okay, so probably let us know why we choose 3 and 4. Everybody's attention. Go.
Okay, so we chose, first, we all like looked at them, so I was the judge in our group. And then we realized that none of us agreed to like none of them, so then together, we looked at it, see which had like the accuracy. And then like which one didn't have any X's at all, so that's how we got down to 3 and 4, because there were no X's. 3 is accurate, 4 is like the long bodies. And
Let's go.
Now, I was the community member in my group. And I got to experience firsthand some of the flaws in the democratic system. Now, we went with 5 and 7, and you might notice something about 5 and 7. In short, it's pretty good for the judge, and it's pretty good for the defendants, it's pretty great for fairness advocates. Unfortunately, especially 8 has a 90% false negative for community member. That's I wouldn't say excellent, but that's what democracy has chosen. We also went with number 5, which coincidentally also had a performs relatively badly under false negative. You know, sometimes that's just how the news goes, and democracy has won again.
Okay.
Any words to against them? Why not?
The way we chose, first y'all picked like what would be the best for us. Then we tried to like narrow it down to something that would be neutral instead of too far right, too far left, like for each group. Because it turned out it was 2 people that agreed with someone, 2 people that agreed with the set. So yeah, we just got to 3 and 4 because they're pretty neutral to each cause instead of, you know, being all for one, not for the other one at all. So yeah, 3 and 4 didn't have any X's. And as far as talking to y'all, like 7 disparity in accuracy, 7.2%, like we're just throwing people on it, 7.9% model 5, we just don't care if it's being more fair to African American or white people, like, okay, all right, guys.
So,
That's it. That's this activity. So as we can see, like different different person will have different opinion on the models. So it works also in the real world. There's no only one right answer. It depends how you. So we probably hope we can have this nice debate and kind of finally work out probably the best model we can use. So this is a real world problem and real world scenario. And just a little bit background of this. So it's actually adopted from a grad level course activity. So what you just done is from a CS grad level course.
So not just undergrad, right? Like this is folks who are going for a master's degree in computer science. And so hearing the discussions that you were having was really, really, really great to be able to see, like, you were engaging with content that like people, 6, 7, 8 years older than you would be doing in school, who have already had 4 years of undergrad in computer science. Yeah. So it is a real world issue and you're debating the ethics of it. But you have really, really strong discussions. So thank you. I know for some of this, it can be a little like, okay, what's going on? This is not fair. This isn't great. But like you were all picking up on different pieces of like strengths of this and drawbacks. And I don't know if it was mentioned when I was out of the room, but not to put anyone on blast. Let me can you share what you told me? Great, if you can project.
Okay, so my opinion about like the computer system or whatever. So, humans, we're definitely biased. But a computer can also be biased as well. So it's like kind of hard to, like when it comes to like sentences, like, okay, I might think this way about it, but then like the computer system might think a different way about it. And there's no way to tell them who's like more right or wrong. There's just no way. So that's why I'm not no judge, no that.
And I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
All right. So last but not least, I will share with you the competition we held for like a couple of years, and we kind of collaborated with the CMU, COST in Saudi Arabia, and we held this competition for youth like you, elementary school, middle school, high school. So let me
Real quick before you press play. So I got run down. I'm going to talk to the group that's coming from the offsite trip. When you're done with the videos, clean up, check out with your instructors, and you're good to go. And we'll see you for an offsite trip on Monday. But once we're all done with this, also something I want to kind of draw attention to. When we're doing this, when we're doing these kinds of workshops, a lot of the time you're seeing people in front of you who are like 15, 20, 25 years into their field and have been doing this for a really long time. You're working with experts, and that's great. But as a student, it can be hard to look at someone and say, cool, how do I get there? Haotian is going to be a senior in college and just led this whole work. Right? So like 4 years from now, you could be doing the same kind of thing where it is accessible. There is a pathway to get there. And so I just want to say thank you for doing this and for leading this for us and engaging. And if any of you have any questions, happy to talk. And ReadyAI is a great resource as well. So take advantage of those resources, but also as we're doing things this summer, start to think about like, could I see myself doing that? Could I envision myself doing that? 4 years from now, you'd be doing the same thing. So it's not that far off. So thank you.
Thank you. So let me play this video.
In AI, we oftentimes use computer software and coding to make predictions. So these predictions impact other people's lives. Today, we're going to study AI. We're going to have, I guess, a little bit of a competition in AI. AI is a really cool thing because it really gets at intelligence. Intelligence itself is an amazing thing. And to try to develop an AI engine is also amazing. The other thing that's really cool is that it brings a lot of interesting mathematics, coding, statistics. So it's a really interesting field.
I was amazed by everything you've created. There are every idea was so innovative and different in its own way.
Okay. Just keep doing
Just you mentioned this girl here, she was the winner in 2020 we see, and she was a high school student then, and she got accepted to MIT this year. So we're pretty happy to see how she grow, and we kind of help her projects and talk to her, help her to achieve this. Yeah.
Don't give up on your ideas. Don't give up on your dreams. Keep with all the passion that you have.
I've seen a lot of innovation, a lot of happiness, and a lot of fun. This could be a stepping stone for anything in the future.
So our problem statement is that there's currently no streamlined and humane way of accurately monitoring fish populations. And our project is called FishNet, and it's a remote AI-powered fish identification solution.
This slide shows how my app follows the ethical principles. Fairness is achieved by making the training data set bias-free.
And then it's time for preparing data for more training. I'm trying to find the maximum number of words in the use. So I split the data, organize it, and then add some patterns.
It's an intelligent app designed with the front-end and back-end structure, integrating YOLO V5 AI models. The tools we use include MIT App Inventor, Glass Server, and AWS EC2.
This is really interesting work, and I'd like to dive into it a little bit more deeply. So you, in one of your slides, you talked about averaging the teacher parameters and using that to set the student parameters. But how do you map teacher parameters to student parameters if these are networks of different sizes?
Yes, I'm actually really glad you asked that question. And that was actually the central focus of our research for like the last 2 to 3 weeks that we've been trying to fix. So basically, we first focused on the self-distillation case, just to see if this concept worked, and then we moved on to knowledge distribution. Now, in the self-distillation case, what we simply found is just analyzing the eigenvectors and eigenvalues will give us the respective sample points. Now, of course, what we want to do is arrive at distillation techniques, right? We want to make our models smaller. So what we decided to do is create a almost 3-phase knowledge distillation system. So you would have your teacher A, which would distill itself into teacher A prime. And then we would use traditional knowledge distillation to distill the improved teacher down to the student. So what happens is that we use the traditional knowledge distillation approach to essentially, well, distill our improved teacher, but we make the teacher so much more effective and impactful that it improves the results of traditional knowledge distillation approaches.
We took a tour around the school to find a problem, what could be fixed, and what could use AI.
Our application Drive Assist, it's had drivers to stay focused on the roads.
I don't really know much about coding and AI and such, but after working with Path and working on this competition, I think it's really piqued my interest. I might try and look further into the details of such things like programming.
And we designed an intelligent system to control the traffic lights at an intersection.
So we decided to make something to prevent the fires. Yes, and that's why we created the project Fire Patrol, which helps the fire department detect fires.
The key idea behind the project is to improve something known as knowledge distillation. Or in other words, how can we transfer the knowledge between 2 neural networks much more effectively while preserving the original information of the teacher in 1/10 of the training time with substantially more accuracy.
Okay, so after that, I want to share with you a 7-year-old boy who joined our competition and did really, really amazing work. and we trained him for like a couple months, and yeah, let me see.
Hi, I'm James, and today I'm gonna show you the website I made for my mom, and it's called HeySetup.com. The problem is I'm trying to solve is my mom is always slouching and having neck problems and back problems when she's working on the computer. She's tried different fixes like braces, new chairs and new keyboards and massages, but those are all temporary fixes. So I made this website that's on the computer to help her. It's called HeySetup.com, and to use it, you slouch, you press this button for like a second, it measures that, then you sit straight, then it measures that. This number is much higher than this number. So just toggle the audio true. Then it measures here, slouching history for 1 minute. And then it's all green. So you slouch, hey, sit up. It plays the noise, then you'll keep sitting back up. So I used Google's PoseNet to do this. I measured from the shoulders to the nose. And then I measured the lowest point that the nose can go and the highest point. So I said, so I took the middle, and then I said if the nose point is over the middle, make it green, and if the nose point is below the middle, make it red, and then play a sound. So all I want to say is, ace it up.
Isn't he adorable? So he's just a 7-year-old, and yeah, we kind of train him for
buy this home internet plans.
Yeah. So as you can see, like how kids like even younger than you can make a really good societal impact. And also I want to quickly show high school team project, what we expected. What's that called as and it should be, I'll do it quick, like in 1 minute. What's a fishnet? Yeah. Just quickly get you through this project. As you can see, they kind of follow what we just mentioned about the 5 big ideas in AI, and trying to do the problem statement, how they form the team, the details like the hardware, software they're using, and their models and how the different fishes they're using, the model performance, how the model works. And those are kind of the demo here. So this is a really advanced work, even compared to grad level students in the college. So yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much for the attention. I know it's a long day for all of you, and I'll leave my contact info here if you're interested.
I can email check you out. Try to do it virtual time, then you have it come to us. And we'll see you Monday.
Make sure that if you guys have that food to go, you put it in the fridge, take it out with you for probably. So I was thinking about 1 to 10 hours. I'm gonna make sure you have food.